Welcome everybody, this is How to English Teach and Learn with Gav and Em.
It's a podcast about teaching and learning English as a foreign language.
All opinions stated are personal and references will be given when necessary.
Welcome back to the show, Em, and welcome to the followers too. I hope you're all having a jolly nice day.
Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, whatever the time is where you are.
That is a lovely introduction, Em. Should we just mention who we are?
Sure.
We are two TEFL teachers teaching and learning day by day, and that's it.
And we are here to share with you our wisdom, experience, knowledge, what have you, just to share and talk and...
Or what you don't have.
Pardon?
You said, or what have you?
Oh, and what you don't have. Okay, fine. Yeah, we're just having a chat about work, basically. This is like a staff room situation. You might overhear your colleagues or your teachers or just random people just talking about work, really.
That's a good point, Em, because it is both for teachers and learners. I think everybody's going to get something from today's show. Episode 7, Season 6 of Gav and Em's How to English TEFL Pod.
Working our way through the alphabet, and today's letter is G.
G. Is it G?
It's G for...
G for...
Gav.
Oh, G for Gav. That's good. I wasn't going to talk about myself today, but we can if you'd like to, Em.
Well, we didn't talk about me with the E episode.
You talked about elephants at one point.
I think we did. So do you want to talk about giraffes? I mean, the letter G, Gav, is incredibly hard to understand for a student of English. Sometimes it's a G, sometimes it's a J. There is no logic to this.
And it could be a if it's a UNG at the end.
Or ing, like bring. So yeah, it's really hard. I tried to teach it once and I got very confused.
I think you taught it on the show once.
Oh, I don't remember that, did I?
It was very interesting, but
Yeah.
very complex. Because it's kind of like a curly C, but then it's got like a standy bit and then like a little platform bit. And
What? Oh, you just talk about what it looks like?
yeah, the letter G is very confusing.
Right.
It's not a C, it's not an R or an L.
Stop you there. I'm not talking about visually, I'm talking about pronunciationally.
Okay, well, even if we look at the small g, suddenly you've got a couple of circles or a circle and a half circle attached by a little dangly line. It's like a hook, Em.
You seem a bit fixated on this now. I mean, maybe it's because it's the initial of your name, but yeah, I think there are so many rules to the pronunciation of G that I tend to just say to my students, yeah, it's really hard. You've just got to remember.
Just
different
remember.
words. It's hard. But moving on, my first word with G, it's got to be grammar, Gav.
Grammar, G for grammar.
G for grammar.
And grammar covers lots of things. Have you got some comprehensive guide to grammar that you're going to share with us right now?
Well, if I had prepared, if I was a very professional person and I had thought about this, I would have spent a long time thinking about what angle I was coming at and what exactly we were going to talk about in terms of grammar. But no, I've literally just written the word grammar and I'm ready for you to go.
Do you want me to expand on the topic of grammar?
I had a suspicion you may have prepared something for this.
No, I've also written grammar and... Well, I know that my students come to me and they say, Teacher Gav, I would like to improve my knowledge of grammar.
Do they? Sorry to interrupt, but I'm just surprised because actually my students say they don't want grammar. They say they want to improve their English, but they're not that interested in grammar. I've never had a student actually say, I want more grammar.
Really?
Actually, that's a lie. I have. Sorry, students out there that have said to me, I want more grammar, but it's not the majority of my students. But carry on.
They say, I want grammar, I want vocabulary.
Yeah.
I ask them, what do you mean by grammar? They say, the times, and I think they mean tenses.
Yeah.
And things like must, should, have to, don't have to is usually missing from their language. And that's kind of where we start.
But you're right about when you ask what they want, they do just tend to use big words like grammar or vocabulary, and then you are nodding and saying, yes, that's great, but what exactly are your weaknesses? And yeah, tenses, okay, but tenses is also a huge topic.
I'm not sure the students can actually tell me where their weaknesses are, but that will come over time through conversation practice. I might set out some activities where they can show me where their weaknesses are, and then I'll start supporting them.
Yeah, so it's nice that they're aware of the fact they've got some gaps maybe, and then they want you to fill in those gaps or fix the problems they've got. So they're willing, that's good.
And that's why they're there, Em. I mean, they come to the class because there is something they need to improve.
Absolutely. But I never start a lesson with, hey everyone, today we're going to do some grammar.
Do you not?
No. That tends to send either a shockwave through my class where they all think, oh no, I wish I hadn't come today. Or they just think, oh, it's going to be really hard then. It's going to be a difficult lesson, maybe a boring lesson. So I tend to just start the topic without declaring that it is grammar. And then at the end I say, well, that was a good grammar lesson, wasn't it? And they say, oh, was it? Yeah, I guess it was.
So is there a reason why you don't say today is all about grammar and we're going to do this specific point?
I just explained that, I think, quite well.
Because they're shocked?
Yeah. And they don't want to do it. I think it brings back memories of school, maybe, where they had a lesson that was just grammar. And I think it's not like that. When I teach, it's more integrated anyway, and it's hopefully a bit of fun.
Do you set stories around the grammar so the students don't really realise they're practising tenses, other things like that?
Yeah, definitely. Hide it a little bit. Make it seem more of a conversation, and then you're just upgrading or adding things in. It's not just, this is the thing we're going to practice, and this is the construction we're going to do, and now you use it.
But you might get to a point where you realise the students are really struggling, and then you suddenly whip out a worksheet, say, okay, here are the rules to this grammar point. It could be your present continuous tenses, and the students are suddenly, now I get it, because these are the rules. This is very clear. Be plus verb ing. You've set it out in front of them, and then they can understand it. Then you could do a quick activity and see if they really get it.
If you've got it ready, that's amazing. I spent quite a long time planning a lesson that was all about either, neither, and both last week, and I still didn't quite get it, I think, across to the student in the lesson, but it's really complicated. I basically said, think about ice cream.
I'm thinking about ice cream right now.
Well, that's amazing. But yeah, you go to an ice cream shop with a small child.
Well, I'm not going to take a small child. I'll just go alone, if you don't mind.
Let's just hypothetically say you've got a small child with you. The small child wants to eat chocolate and vanilla ice cream.
Chocolate and vanilla?
And you say, well, you can have either chocolate or vanilla.
I haven't got enough for both.
You can't have both. So then the child stomps its foot and says, well, I want neither.
Oh, that is a great dialogue. Can I see that written down?
You can. I will print that out for you and send it to you.
I think I would use that just to explain either, neither, both.
Yeah, it did help, I think. Definitely you need some examples, because trying to explain that both is two of two things and either is one of two things and neither is zero of two things works in a way if your student has that kind of brain. But, I mean, really, it's hard to remember all that when you're just saying a sentence.
I think having a story there really, really helps.
As many stories and as many examples as you can think of.
But not too many, because then that might get a bit confusing.
Okay. As many as you can, but not too many, but just the right number, and that's the perfect amount.
And remember that it might not work with some students. You might just need to chat with them and then show them a worksheet, for example.
Sure. Welcome to the world of TEFL, everyone.
Confusing.
What's your first word, Gab?
Moving away from grammar, I have the word beginning with the letter G, games.
I have also games. I haven't got any examples.
How can we do an episode of Gav and Em's How to English TEFL Pod without talking about games and possibly playing a game too?
Have you got a game ready?
Of course I have.
Excellent.
And do you know what the topic of this game will be?
I have no idea.
Well, of course, because we're thinking about doing some work in our garden, we need some gardening tools.
Well, it starts with G, a good topic for this episode.
It's a great topic, which also begins with G.
Okay, let's start.
Before we start,
Oh, no.
I'd just like to elicit a few gardening tools from you because being such a professional teacher, I, of course, want to activate that part of your brain where you store all of those gardening tools.
Like my shed?
Your brain shed.
My brain shed. Okay, this is a warm-up then, just to unlock the tool shed in my head.
That's it. What's in that tool shed, Em?
Well, I've got a lawnmower.
A lawnmower. That's for mowing lawns.
Yeah, cutting the grass, let's say. I've got a pair of shears.
Pair of shears. They sound like a big pair of scissors to me.
What do you mean they sound like? Shears and scissors. Do you think they sound the same?
I remember being a child and somebody saying, you need to shear that mop of hair away.
Weird.
I think we shear sheep, so I'm
Uh-huh.
definitely thinking scissoring, cutting, electric, trimming. All of these words are associated with shearing in my head.
Yes. I also have a hoe.
A hoe, that's a garden tool which one might use to turn the earth.
To get rid of the weeds also.
Mm-hmm.
And that's probably it for me.
Okay, that's it. Close that. Well, no, don't close that door. Keep that door open because we're going to fill it with a few more ideas.
I'll prop it open with a gnome. Gav, how do we play this game?
I'm going to give you some sentences that contain the incorrect gardening tool that you might need to use in your garden. And all you need to do is to replace the incorrect tool with the correct one.
So are you giving me all the words that I might need to use, or am I using my shed for this?
No, I think you have to use your own shed for this. We'll see how we get on. I might need to supply you with some more information if you're a lower level student, for example. I might write the tools on the board so you've got references. But as you're a very keen gardener, Em, I don't think I need to.
You're assuming I have some knowledge of these tools, but yes.
Well, I've already elicited quite a few from you.
Exactly, but if it was a lower level class, you might need to pre-teach all these. I think this may be the activation kind of game final part of the lesson.
This next activity.
This would be a good final activity.
The coming activity.
Yes.
Is to revise, to check, to make sure you understood all the vocabulary that we've learned up until this point.
That's right.
Thank you for clarifying.
I just wanted to make sure we're all on the same page.
Let me begin with my first sentence. I dug a hole for the tomato plant using a rake.
Oh, you wouldn't want to use a rake. Rake's for clearing off the leaves off the lawn. So you dug a hole in the garden for the tomato plant using a spade or a shovel.
I did. You're quite right, because a rake would not be right in this sentence.
Take a long time.
She watered all the flowers with a broom.
Oof, I don't know how you'd do that, but a broom is for sweeping the patio, for example, or the terrace. So I think she watered all the flowers. Was it flowers? Plants. She watered all the flowers with a watering can.
Oh, very good. Or what's that other thing that you might hold that's like a snake?
Hose pipe. I have a very nice watering can that is the shape of a flamingo.
I'm picturing it now, Em.
Where do you think the water comes out?
Does it come out of its beak?
Exactly.
Oh, nice. This activity is just leading to conversation too.
I want to tell you about things, yes. What's next?
He pruned the rose bush with a shovel.
Oh, that would be a heavy-handed kind of pruning. I think he pruned the rose bush with some secateurs? Or clippers? No, clippers are for hair. So, yeah, secateurs, or what are they also called?
Gardening shears.
Yeah, but that's big. But you could do. Yeah, you could. I already used that word and I forgot what they were.
I think the shed of knowledge needs to be opened again, Em, in your mind. We moved the soil across the garden using a lawnmower.
We moved the soil across the garden using a shovel, but we've already said shovel, so using...
It's a lot of soil. Gonna need something bigger.
Truck? I don't know. A wheelbarrow.
A wheelbarrow.
Ah.
Nice.
What did you say? Using a...
Lawnmower?
Lawnmower, that wouldn't work. You'd have
wouldn't
to
work at all.
Put it upside down, maybe, fill up the base.
It's not working for me. Can you describe your wheelbarrow to us, Em?
I have a metal wheelbarrow that has a frame also made of metal, and there's handles made of wood, and there are two things that it stands on and a wheel at the front, and so the things it stands on are at the back. So if you need to use it, you have to pick it up and move it on the wheel part, and then when you want to rest it down, you put it on the stand part at the back.
You described that very well for the group. Thank you very much.
Quite hard, actually. I think that would be a challenge for your students to think of how to describe a wheelbarrow. If you want to test their descriptive skills, that is also very good.
Remember to go through each item in your vocabulary list that's in the game, because there may be students who just don't know what a wheelbarrow is. Clarify the language.
Yeah.
Oh, that doesn't begin with G. I trimmed the hedge with a garden fork.
I trimmed the hedge with... cheers again.
Something electric?
Hedge trimmer?
Hedge trimmer would work, definitely.
Faster.
It's considerably faster.
Easier.
They were collecting leaves using a compost bin.
This is definitely a rake. They were collecting leaves using a rake, and maybe they put the leaves into the compost bin after they collected them.
It could be the case. And we broke up the dry earth with a watering can.
That would probably break the watering can. So I broke up the... They broke up the dry earth with a hoe. Or a... I think there is another one, but I don't know what it's called. Is
it like the thing that you eat your supper with? A knife and...
Fork, that's it. That's the one. You have said fork. A garden fork.
That's it. A garden fork will break up the dry earth, Em.
This does remind me, Gav, of the Two Ronnies sketch. You know the famous sketch where the guy goes into the shop that sells gardening tools and he asks for 4 candles.
4 candles?
No, he wants 4 candles.
Is that fork handles?
That's the one. He needs a handle for his fork, but the guy gives him 4 candles.
Oh, well, you definitely couldn't do any gardening with 4 candles.
Then he says, have you got any O's?
O's like the hoe for taking up the weeds?
No, that's a good point. No, not that kind of hoe. And I think he's dropping his H's, so I think the guy thinks he wants a hose, like a hose for watering.
Ah.
But in fact, he wants an O for his door because he lives at number 10, and maybe he needs a 1 and an O. Got any O's?
It might be best to ask for a 1 first, and then the O will be a bit easier to understand.
Maybe he already had the 1 and he needs to get the O's.
Give us a G.
Well, the next G is gap fill, Gav. Gap fill.
Gap fill, Gav. I like that.
Gap fill, Gav. Well, I think I'm going to do what you usually do. I'm going to say to you, with the help of AI, I am going to generate a gap fill in real time about a topic that you love. So tell me a topic you love, Gav.
Well, I know that we've talked about chores and we've also talked about fitness this season. So that leaves me to request an activity all about unicorns.
Oh, wouldn't have seen that one coming. But okay, Gav, I'm going to write into my AI now that's open on my screen. Make me a gap fill activity using the theme of unicorns. And it's done it, okay? It's done it. It took 3 seconds and now I have a lovely little text about unicorns. I could give you this gap fill and just tell you the words that you need to use or give you that as well. But I'm going to elicit them from you. So I'm going to read the text to you, and every time I say, think of a word, any word comes to mind.
Cheese.
Cheese. Every time I say the word cheese, there is a word missing, okay?
Is it unicorns?
Well, it's about unicorns.
Okay, let me just think about unicorns first. Right, so we've got fluffy, sleek, horny.
Wait a sec.
Rainbows.
Can it be fluffy and sleek? I've got a problem with that, but horny, we're not going to go there. Not that word. No, horn, yeah, but not horny.
Hoofy.
movie. All good words, Gav. So you've done your little bit of thinking prep, okay? Are you ready?
I am ready.
Unicorns are magical cheeses that look like horses with a single cheese on their forehead.
Animal, horn.
No. Well, yeah, the second one, horn, yes. The first one, no.
Magical creatures.
Creatures, very
Oh,
good.
get me.
Unicorns are magical creatures that look like horses with a single horn on their foreheads. They are often said to live in cheese forests and are known for their cheese and grace.
Magical forests.
All close, very similar.
Haunted forests.
No, going off track now. Very similar
Mystical.
to magical. No, not mystical. Starts with E.
Enchanted forests.
Yes, enchanted forests and are known for their cheese and grace.
Is it beauty?
It is beauty.
Is it really?
That's amazing.
I wasn't sure about that one.
Many stories say that unicorns can only be seen by people who are very cheesy or pure of heart.
Honest.
No.
Kind.
Oh, very good. Yes. People who are very kind and pure of heart. I didn't know that, actually.
I knew that.
Did you? Good. You know about unicorns.
I know a lot about unicorns.
Their horns. Oh, you're never going to get this. Their horns are called.
Is that what you say to your students? You're never going to get this.
No, I don't. Honestly, I don't. Their horns are called cheeses and are believed to have cheesy powers.
Their horns are called concours.
Nice word. I really don't think you know this. Alicorns.
Alicorns. I knew it was corn something.
You got it actually quite close. Alicorns. And they are believed to have cheesy powers.
Magical.
That's right. Did you enjoy that?
Is it finished?
I could go on, but I think that's just enough for a demo. But what I'm saying here, Gav, is gap fill can be fun.
That was loads of fun.
I should have waited till you said if it was fun or not, but I guess it was.
I was having so much fun there. I could not contain myself, and maybe we will continue this activity after the show.
I enjoyed it too. So you can generate a
Hold on, Em. What was the horn called?
An alicorn.
An alicorn.
Alicorn.
An alicorn. I like that. I'm going to try and remember that word.
You've learnt a new word. So what I'm taking away from this is you can personalise a gap fill. You can literally ask a student in the lesson, tell me a topic, any topic, and the AI will create that instantly with the answers. And it doesn't have to be a dry, dusty kind of activity where the students are just with their head down doing this gap fill thing. I mean, everybody knows a gap fill, don't we? But you can make it more interactive. You could get one student to read it to the other student if you've got more than one student.
Could it be on a different topic?
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
Oh, that's really good.
Could be about anything you like. I just said that. Are you paying attention?
I am.
Well, let's move on to your next G word.
I'm not sure which direction to take the next part of the show because I've got so many G's and only a limited time to share them with you and the followers.
We'll pick a good one, Gav. G for good.
I've got group dynamics.
Oh, that's a good one. Are we going with that?
Or global English.
Oh, also good.
Good vibes only.
Okay.
Ghost students.
Wow, what's a ghost student? I'm sorry, I need to know that one.
That's the one that just disappears halfway through the course and you never see them again.
Is that actually a technical word for it?
No, I think I just made that up.
That's great. Does sound a bit like they're there, but you just can't see them, which is weird. That is actually what happens when I'm online and people don't turn on their camera. They are like ghosts.
Ah.
You feel a presence, but you're not sure if they're really there or not.
And you find you're just talking to yourself. Or another topic could be going solo.
Well, I like all those topics, Gav. So you decide which one.
Let's begin with group dynamics. Tell us how your students might be different. How do you bring them all together in one room, Em?
You have to find a common topic, I think, that they can all relate to. There's no point talking about everybody's hobbies every lesson. It is nice to talk about hobbies, but if other people are not interested, if one person's into playing role-play games and the other one's into skiing, they're maybe not going to find a common ground. So I think at the beginning of a course, I try and find a common topic that everybody can agree on. Maybe work even, talk about work.
It's useful if they're all from the same company, and then they want to talk about that company, for example.
Could be, but even if it's just work and everybody in the group has a job, that's fine. Family, things like that can unite people if everyone's got kids. I think you've just got to find something that your students share an interest in. So you may need to do the what do you do in your free time and what are your hobbies, and then see if you can find something that joins them together.
And why are you learning English? What do you expect to get from this course, etc., etc. And the dynamics could refer to confident students, shy students, talkative, reticent. Have you got a one-size-fits-all solution to this, Em?
No, I haven't. I think it's very personalised for every group. I think you have to find out the hierarchy, find out who's the dominant student, who is the shy student, who works well in a group, who's more of an independent person, who has a lot to say.
How far you can push them until they start to cry.
Yeah, all that. So these are all the first maybe 2 or 3 lessons. I think you have to feel it out, really. And then you can get into more.
And then you can start picking them apart, breaking them down, building them back up again, and create the best class possible.
Not sure about that, but I think you have to definitely have a lot of talking to find out all these things.
Really get to know them. And then you know that you're catering to their requirements.
Yeah, but I do think a lot about the students who are quite quiet and how to get them talking, especially if you've got, let's say, 4 students all interacting, having a great chat about whatever's going on in the news, and then you've got one student who's just sitting back, kind of not contributing. I do worry about how they are going to start getting into the topic. And as a teacher, I don't know if it's good just to say, what do you think about this? Because it's such a general question that you might embarrass them, or they may not have anything to say, or it might be just really hard for them to voice it in terms of English.
Is it enough for them simply to sit there and listen to the other students talking and their fellow students doing all the work, and they can just simply enjoy being there?
Well, for me, not really. And I wouldn't say they're doing all the work so much, because maybe the student who's not speaking is doing a lot of work to actually understand what's going on. But I would prefer them to obviously speak as well. So that's the goal, if you get everybody talking. But I think it's very hard to do that and to allocate time and make sure that one person isn't talking too much. It's a very hard balance to get right.
You could say every student has their own personality.
You could, Gav.
And they're all different.
You could say that.
And somehow you, as the teacher, need to bring them all together, working together in harmony.
Yeah.
Does it ever really happen?
Sometimes, and when it does, it is magical.
Is that the flow?
That is the flow. We've talked about the flow before. Did we talk about F flow? No, we didn't. We didn't talk about flow, Gav, last episode.
No.
Grading, Gav. What about grading? Grading your language.
Oh, from the teacher's point of view?
Yes, not grading their tests. That's boring.
Well.
Sorry. I mean, to talk about. Obviously, it's very important that your students are monitored and checked and assessed, and we all need to do that sometimes.
And
but
given feedback.
I'm not here to talk about that kind of admin stuff. I want to talk about grading your language. So when you start a course with a new group, B1, do you say, are you ready to start? Or do you say, are we all set now to crack on?
Let's kick off.
What one do you say?
I say, I'm not sure I say anything. I just probably just keep asking questions and don't acknowledge the fact the lesson's actually started.
All right, but my point is about the language. Would you say, what's your opinion on that, student A? Or would you say, what do you reckon, student A?
They are both very good examples. I think for a high level student, obviously you can expand your vocabulary, use some of those idiomatic phrases. But I tend to, at the beginning of the course, use slightly more simple language, and then I build on that. What I might do is, for example, the first question as the lesson begins, say, good morning, how you doing, how's it going, are you all right, what's new, until I see a smile on their face that they recognise one of those expressions.
Really? So you're just going through a whole kind of phrase book of how we use.
Sometimes, yeah.
That could be quite overwhelming. I do that, but I tend to do that each lesson. So we'll start with first lesson.
That's
how
a good
are you?
idea. I should try that.
Try it, maybe. How are you the first one? Second lesson, how's it going?
Oh,
See a little bit of a fear in their eyes of how do I answer that? Check they can do it. Then maybe the next week, what's up? What's new? And then the fourth week,
what's happening your end?
yeah, all of that. I do try and mix it up a bit with that. Even basic stuff like how are you? You can really push them. But I agree with you. If they can get a bit of a sure footing at the beginning, then they've got a bit of confidence. And if they don't understand what you're saying, they can say, what's that? Or how do I answer that? Because it is hard.
Or you just get a blank face and then you realise you need to rephrase it in perhaps a more simple way.
Yeah.
I definitely speak a little bit slower at the beginning of the course and then I will get faster and to my natural speed typically, yeah.
Good point, because grading isn't just the words you use, it's also the speed you're speaking at. And I think as a new teacher, I had a little bit of a misunderstanding of that, and I thought grading your language was just speaking slowly. So I would say, hey, everybody, what's the deal today? And nobody understood what I meant. So it's not just how you say it and the speed, it's also what you say. It's not always going to be understood if you use complicated phrasal verbs with an elementary class.
That is very true. And also be aware of your connected speech because students simply cannot identify words that are said too quickly together if they're of a lower level.
That's also true. That is good. Talk like this. Maybe it's clearer. Not what do you reckon about that then?
Save that for later in the course.
Gav, it's tip time. What's your tip of the day?
Well, I'm going to briefly mention going global English. Try, if you ever have the opportunity to have students from all around the world, you can enjoy a diverse perspective.
When you say if you ever have the opportunity, you mean if your director of studies says, would you like this international class or would you like this one group that's got one language that all come from the same country? Go for the first one.
Don't be frightened
Okay.
of your global
Quite
students.
a niche question.
It's a really good opportunity for you to learn more about culture. You might find the students are more engaged because they enjoy hearing different perspectives from the other students.
That's nice. Go global. I agree. I love mixed lessons with people from everywhere.
I really enjoy having those kind of classes too. It sort of pushes me a little bit more and then makes me think, well, I can't simply do an activity that supports students from this particular first language. I need to think about activities that are also going to support students who speak other languages. It's going to have to be something bigger, more complex, more interesting, but also fun for everyone.
More tailored, maybe. Or not. I don't know. Maybe it's more general, but it is a challenge.
It can also be really fun for your students where it gives them the opportunity to spend time with people from other countries, learn different accents, and give them a really interesting experience in the classroom.
Yeah. And as a teacher, you may need to paraphrase sometimes if somebody's from a different place and maybe the others are not following what they're saying. You may need to just help a little bit with that and create that dynamic, I think, because if you have got one student from one other place and all the others are from the same country, it can be a bit intimidating for the one other student who's not from there. So you might need to be their buddy a bit and really show your understanding what they're talking about and that the others need to also catch up.
You're not interpreting, but you're maybe just adding a little bit of help if the student has a heavy accent and the other students are not familiar with this accent.
Yeah, and after a few weeks, I think you do get an ear for the accent, so hopefully the others will start to get more confident as well.
That's a great opportunity for you and the students. And what's your tip?
My tip, Gav, is to be a guide. G for guide rather than a teacher, let's say, because we're trying to support our students rather than just dictating to them. So I think if there is an opportunity for them to find out, let's say guided discovery, we haven't talked about that yet, but guided discovery is where the students are doing the work themselves, finding the answers themselves. If they get stuck, if they need help, you're there as a teacher to support them, but you're essentially giving them the skills to learn themselves. You don't want to just hand it to them on a plate.
I knew this would take us back to unicorns, because unicorns will take us through the mystical forest so that we can find the magic tree of knowledge and wisdom and understanding of the beautiful languages that we all want to share.
We are all unicorns, Gav. We are all guiding our students through the mystical, enchanted forest of English. So yes.
Using our, what was that word again?
I've forgotten already. What was it?
With our alicorns pointing.
That's it. Yes, alicorn. Well done.
With our alicorns pointing in the right direction, Em. So, from one unicorn to another, Em. Catch you next episode.
Bye, Gav.